Hello and welcome. Thank you to the people who voted in the poll I put out yesterday. For those of you who aren't aware, my computer is not turning on at the moment, so I'm forced to do lives or shorts, and so I put up some options for voting, and everyone who voted wanted to know how to mix well-drained soil for natives. And it's a mystery, right? Everybody's scared of the natives because of the soil thing. Well, I'm going to cut all that out for you today. I've got a really easy way of doing it. I've got my trusty wheelbarrow here. I use an old garden pot for measuring, and I've got some different ingredients if you like. The most important ingredient in my well-drained mixture is rock popcorn. That's what I like to call it, but it's actually perlite. So let's get some perlite out. One of the really important things that you need to know about perlite is that it does give off a dust. So you need to either wear a mask or you need to wet it down before you work with it. It's been raining for days here, so I don't need to wet it down. It's already thoroughly saturated. And as a consequence, it's heaps heavier than it usually is. So what perlite is, it's a volcanic rock. You can see why I call it rock popcorn. It's extremely light, and it holds up to 10 times its own weight in water when it's in your pot. But it also holds it away from the roots, which means that your plants that don't like too much moisture around their roots can access the water, but the water isn't sitting on the roots, so you're less likely to get root rot. Now, perlite is usually obsidian. When it comes out of a volcano, it is superheated. Then they mine it or collect it, they crush it, put it on screens in a big processing plant, and once they've put it on the screens, they then superheat it, and it pops like popcorn. And that's how we get all that lovely area inside each grain of perlite that holds the water. And that's not even the best bit. It also holds nutrients. So something like natives, you don't want to over fertilize, right? So you don't have to worry as much with perlite, because any fertilizer that is in there, or anything that's in there that's a nutrient for the plant, will get trapped on the inside of that popcorn. Once again, easy for the plant to access. So all I'm going to do is grab a pot like this, and I'll stick it in here. One. Oh, this pot isn't working out too well today. It's harder when it's so saturated. That's two. They're about 2/3 full. Put those scissors away. Three. And there's a very good reason as to why I'm doing three. When I'm planting natives that need well-drained soil, and the things I'm planting are things that are usually found in sandy soil or on rocky slopes, I'm going to be using this soil mix for midgeonberry bushes and also lemon sherbet coleus, which is Coleus bellis, only found on the slopes of Mount Carbine. When I'm doing that, I want to make sure that there's plenty of drainage. So my ratio is usually either 2/3 perlite to 1/3 mix, soil type mix. And I know that sounds like a lot of perlite, but trust me, some of the plants need it in this very humid tropical environment that I live in. This one, I'm not going to go quite as extreme on. This one I'm doing 3 parts perlite to 1 part potting mix and 1 part mushroom compost. And some people worry that compost is bad for natives. Everything I've researched suggests it's exactly the opposite. Unless you're buying a commercial compost that is full of chemical fertilizers, you don't need to worry about compost. And mushroom compost is one of the best. In fact, the nursery that I have bought the best plants from, the healthiest plants, they always use mushroom compost. And that's Lamington Native Nursery, which is in southeast Queensland. If you get a chance to go to Lamington Native Nursery, trust me, you will love it if you are someone who loves native plants. Everything is super, super healthy. Right, so we've got our perlite, our rock popcorn. Now, I've just got a commercial compost mix. I would love to buy this from a farm, but up here, most of the mushroom farms, and there aren't many of them because of the weather, are a big long drive away. So I just can't get to them. So the plants that you need to worry about, the native plants that you need to worry about that might be sensitive to extra fertilizers that are in some of the compost mixes, those are mainly grevilleas, proteas, hackleas, things like that. And the reason that they're actually susceptible to too much phosphorus is not because they're intolerant of it. It's because they were in extremely poor soils over the years and years. And what they've actually done is they've developed super sensitive systems in their bodies, in their root systems, in order to absorb what little phosphorus is in the soil. They are so good at absorbing phosphorus that if there's extra phosphorus in the soil, they will get a chemical imbalance, and hence they are not healthy. So there we go. That's about 1 pot, because I was only filling the perlite 2/3. And I've got a native plant mix. Now, I wouldn't use this if I was planting rainforest species, because rainforest species don't mind some richness in their soil, but I like to keep the mix pretty bland for plants that aren't used to such a rich, wet environment. Okay. And that's it. It's as simple as that. Now it just needs to all be mixed. And how do you know it's mixed? Well, there's so much perlite in there that I will know that the compost and the native soil mix are mixed together when I can see just granules in between that lovely chocolatey soil. There is also a little bit of residual soil from other planting in this. Doesn't worry me too much, I just mix it in. You can never have too much soil, right? Especially when you need to do potting. And if you're wondering why I've had gloves on, gloves off during this, well, that's because I don't actually usually wear gloves when I'm mixing soil, because I just love the feel of the soil, and soil is so healthy. They've done studies that have shown that when we breathe in, when we're working with soil, we're actually breathing in beneficial microbes that give us dopamine hits. One of the reasons why gardening is so good for you, right? So the reason I am making myself wear gloves today is because I have a cut on my hand and I don't really want mushroom compost getting into the cut, because it can be somewhat volatile. Okay, that's it. Thanks for watching today. Please, if you have any questions, throw them in the comments. If you can engage with this content in any way, I will be incredibly grateful, because I'd love to get this channel monetized, which means that I could then get a new computer, and also so that I can make better quality videos more often. I love this. It's my passion. Thank you for watching. I'm going to get into planting this, and I'll see you when we get into it next time.